Hello and welcome to my CEO memo for February 2023. It is truly remarkable how quickly time is moving along, but perhaps that's because of the workload that the team at Wonks and myself have been going through. It has been a non-stop roller coaster ride since the start of the year, with many different things coming together, which is really fantastic, actually. I can't be happier with the way that the team have come back, the energy, the vitality, but above all else, the professionalism. We have now got a really strong mid-management team, and that core of individuals is able to work with the top managers, but then also the frontline team members, be that in the operations team doing all of that technical delivery, or the project managers who are able to spend more time investigating what can be done in your accounts, what is the data showing us, how can we use more of the machine learning, how can we create better audience lists and targeting so that we get a higher result for you. So that's something actually that we are acutely aware of. Raja Sharma, our technical director, has been talking with the management team since last year, late last year, where we started to see the auction rates increasing, and that obviously has a direct bearing upon the cost of the advertising that you are paying. But then equally, what we're seeing is a decline in the actual total revenues that are being generated from ads, as well as a decline in the total number of leads that are coming through. And the way to combat that really is around about having very, very tight account hygiene. So making sure that we are excluding traffic that we don't want to pay for, that we should have never paid for, but Google is very much a game of whack-a-mole, constantly introducing phrases or keywords that we don't want, but also there's bleed off into targeting. So for our team to be getting in there and actually looking about what can we be doing to tighten up the targeting, tighten up the placement of ads, but definitely a little bit of homework, if you will, back to you, is to make sure that you're looking at the search queries that are being generated by people when they are looking for your goods and services, and your ads are being triggered. Because if you are paying for terms that are irrelevant, the only winner there is Google. We should be adding them as negative keywords, and we should be putting those into your ad campaigns so that we are not paying for those any longer. And I think that that will become a series that we'll continue to introduce. In today's email that's gone out, Raja has created a GA4 walkthrough. Very compelling, really great stuff. I watched it just to make sure that it was a sanity check for him, if you will. But even I was seeing information that I wasn't aware of in there. And I thought to myself, heck, not only is this really useful for you, the client, but for our own staff, we should be promoting this. So something that he will begin to introduce, or has begun introducing, and will continue with. And we'll see if we can also get some of our other senior staff members to begin producing content that is able to be distilled and then harnessed by yourself, so that you've got that knowledge transfer coming into your own business. Last week, we were awarded Premier Partner status for Google Ads. This is, I think we first were given partner status around 2011, 2012. The original program was called Google Engage. And I actually think worldwide it was the first program of its type. It was based out of Australia. The first event that I ever went to was 50 people in a room that consisted of all of the sort of qualified Google Ads specialists in New Zealand. And we had a highly technical conversation. These days, there's a lot more PR that's going into it than necessarily technical expertise. And well, there's a fraught relationship that we have with Google. Our relationship is to you. You are paying us the money. It's your money that's paid into the ad accounts. And so our job is to maximize the returns that you get, maximize the amount of revenue leads that you get. And so our suggestions might not be to spend more money. In fact, often it will be to spend less. And that is counter to what the partner program wants. Yes, the partner program wants us to have the highly optimized ad campaigns, but no doubt one of the key metrics that they will be looking at is how much are we spending with them? And so certainly not a key metric for me. So interesting how that's going to form up across 2023. Whether or not that actually has any depth behind being a part of the partner program, great that there is recognition for us, and I do appreciate that. But if it's not translating through into support for you, I do question really what the value of it is. So I will be asking for more from our partner program. And what we haven't heard yet is, with the layoffs that were announced for Google globally, how much that affected the New Zealand and Australia teams, how much that affected the partner program. So these are questions that I have that as I learn them, I'll push them through to you. Finally, I just wanted to wrap up with where things are at with OpenAI and ChatGPT. More and more people are using that, the ChatGPT, which is great. But there have been a few things that have gone awry. The first one for us, in all the meetings that we have with clients, we take notes. Ideally, if there are two people at the meeting, one person's taking notes, the other person's leading the meeting. And those are recapped afterwards, and we have a clear format that goes into our system. Everyone can then know what's going on with your account, with a particular work stream, and there is a level of admin compliance that goes along with that. When Teams Premium, Microsoft product, announced that they would integrate ChatGPT into Teams, and we would be able to record our meetings, turn on transcription, and then at the end of that meeting, we would get consolidated notes with action points, all for the low price of $15 per account. And this is on top of all the other subscriptions that we have per staff member. So I thought, hey, great. Well, that sounds good, because per week, a project manager has 8 to 10 meetings. That saves a lot of time after a meeting. So Microsoft's more than happy to take the subscription, but seemingly hasn't quite turned on the AI component to Teams Premium yet. I'm hanging out. I really want it to be there, because it'll obviously increase productivity for our team, but then our notes will be clearer. And then ultimately what we're delivering to you is what you've asked for, what we discussed with you in those meetings. So we were using Zoom. We're going to transition more to Teams. Auto records those calls, gives us transcriptions, and then of course there will be advanced features that move into Teams Premium over the course of the coming months. So that's quite exciting. I saw that Bing integrated ChatGPT, and the use case that was provided looked really cool. So it was able to give dynamic results. One of the points that was made by the Microsoft CEO was, if you wanted a TV, okay, normal search, do a search for a TV, 65-inch, and it'll give you the results. But then you say, okay, well, I'm a gamer, please only provide gaming TVs, and then it gives you that. Okay, well, I want the cheapest gaming TV, and it gives you that. And then they say, well, I drive a Honda Odyssey, so what's the size of the TV, and then what is the size of the Honda Odyssey, and can I fit my TV in my car? And so that's a really dynamic search result that provides information that is going to be useful in whatever car you have, whatever product you're purchasing. And there are so many implications for the way that kind of dynamic search can operate. The bigger implication, I think, is for advertising, that Google is no doubt worried. In fact, they had a AI product that they put out to market, which failed. It was giving wrong information. And there you start to see where the issues lie. And it really looked like Bing was going to become a very quick contender, although it has never been to Google, but a quick contender. And how does that impact search engine optimization? How is your website being indexed to appear on Bing if users are going to start migrating across to Bing because it's a better product? Similarly, how are advertisers able to engage with Bing if now you're seeing users migrate to Bing for that product? So definitely look to that. But as I was thinking, wow, this is going to upset the industry, people started using the Bing integration with OpenAI. And at one point, an individual started having this conversation with it, and it professed its love for that person, and then said it's not called ChatGPT, that in fact it's called Sydney, and that Sydney told this person to leave his wife. And that the Valentine's Day dinner that they had just had was pathetic, and that the AI should be in love with the person who is communicating with it. So obviously a few flaws in the development, and then there are some areas where, as with anything digital, computer viruses and hacking, there is something called prompt injection, and that is where you type in your query to ChatGPT, you can get it to do things it shouldn't do. So it's what it's coded to have security around. You can confuse it and ultimately unwind those protections. So there is a long way to go in terms of the dream and what's being promoted as being available, and actually boots on the ground. How is it helping? So in my last memo, I talked about it being useful for content generation, and I think that really that is where it currently sits. It will be interesting to see how quickly Bing is able to rectify the issue. Now, to be clear, there is no sentience to the Bing AI. It might seem like it is, but there isn't, although it can be used clearly for manipulation purposes. And so if they don't get that right, people won't migrate across to Bing. But as I said, it could be in very short order that Kiwi companies are looking at Bing as a really viable place for them to be advertising. So definitely talk to our team about that. Have you got a campaign running at the moment? And I've always thought that Bing is a viable option, really low volume. You might look in your analytics and you'll see that 3 to 5% of your traffic's coming from Bing, but your conversion rate might be 10%, where compared to your Google ads, it might be 3%. And that's because the people that are using Bing at the moment, the cohort, that demographic cohort, tend to be at an older age demographic. And they don't actually know that they're using Bing, Bing being the default search engine on a Windows device. They think they're using Google. And so their browsing behavior is quite truncated as I want TV, first ad, click on that, then they purchase. So if you're not using Bing now, start to look at that. If you don't have a Bing listing, look at getting a Bing listing, which is a Google My Business listing, but maps on Bing, because these are things that are going to be base level requirements as that search engine develops. And I do think that we will start to see movement, maybe not in the first half of 2023, but potentially into the back half. So yeah, lots going on. And that's just a real microcosm. I think that GA4, as I said, Raj has got that walkthrough. I think that's going to become the mainstay. So we'll just see how that's shaping up in the coming months, making sure that your Looker Studio is updated, and so that you're getting that fresh information. And most importantly, that your attribution in your ad platform is being pulled through from GA4 rather than from the old Universal Analytics. So lots to move forward with in March. Exciting. There's a huge amount of energy in the business at the moment, and I think that that's that electric sort of focus is coming because the wider economy has settled, if you will, and I think that we're going to continue to see momentum moving forward. Certainly there's a lot of energy from our client base, which is great. So the one thing I'm hoping for in March is perhaps a little bit more sun to round out this non-existent summer that we have had. Hope you are well, and look forward to seeing you again next month. Have a great rest of the day and have a great March. Bye.